Got a pretty funny story to recount today about something I heard about in the news. First things first, the shaman at gmail.com is the place to hit me up if you'd like to consult personally about whatever. If you'd like to check out my books, if you'd like to join the Discord server, that's where all the conversations happen. I know I don't post that much on YouTube anymore, and that's because I'm trying to get people over to Discord or whatever and make it a little bit more censorship free and all that good stuff because you got to do fancy footwork on YouTube now. So, anyways, the shaman at gmail.com is the place to hit me up. Oh, let's see. So there was a shooting recently. I don't know if you're even allowed to say that word on YouTube anymore, but I will. There was a shooting in Florida at a Checkers. Now, when I was growing up, we had a couple of these in and outside of Chicago. I had them on the East Coast, but some of you might not be familiar with Checkers. Checkers is basically kind of like a mix between like old, A&W type of greasy spoon fast food place, Really, pretty good stuff. Haven't been to Checkers in forever, but it was okay. Now, you've all heard these stories where a customer goes into, let's say, Burger King, and they order, a Whopper and a lemonade. And the employee says, "Hey, I'm sorry, sir, we're all out of lemonade. We're getting a shipment in of syrup tomorrow. We don't have any. Would you like a Coca-Cola instead?" And the guy, flips the F out and he ends up going bang, 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 or calls 911. We've all heard that instance where it's the customer who flips out. But this one's very interesting. A customer had come into a Checkers in Florida and he had made an order, and he paid for his order, everything great. Now, what did he do? He asked for more sauce. Well, actually, that's not true. He asked for more mayonnaise packets. He asked for more mayonnaise packets, mayo packets. And the employee decided to start having words with this dude about wanting more mayonnaise packets. And the customer said something smart back to him because he's probably like, "What the F, man? Just give me the mayonnaise packets. Like, what do you own Checkers? You upset about, the 1 cent less in revenue you're gonna get by giving me 3 extra packets?" So the employee didn't like what the customer said to him, and he took a heater out from underneath his belt and he capped that man in Checkers. And Checkers, the color scheme is red as it is, and he just, I guess, decided to add to the interior decorating of the place with a little bit of red from that customer. So this is a very interesting story because it's the employee that crashed out. It's typically the customer. Wow, it's crazy. Now, the other thing too that I want to report on is fast food. You shouldn't eat fast food all the time, but you can eat fast food and still stay reasonably healthy and reasonably trim. The reason why most people who eat fast food are obese or overweight or overwhelmed with health concerns is because the sauces. And I know there's that meme from, oh, white people don't season their food, but sometimes, like, if you have to eat fast food, it's best to act that way and not season your food with sauces. Because if you look at the sauce packets, they all have soy in them. They all have, red dye number 40 or whatever. They all have polysorbate 80 or whatever it is. They all have high fructose corn syrup. The sauce is what's poisoning you. And it's always, I hate to say it, but when you go out to eat, you're typically, the people who are not eating the sauce, it's typically going to be marshmallow complected people. The people who do eat the sauce are typically going to be melanated individuals, For some reason, it's just the addiction to the dipping sauces. It's like, what are you, a child? Do you really need to mask the taste of your food? I get it. People are like, oh, white people are dull and boring. But sometimes if you're eating the fast food, it's best to just eat the hamburger or eat the chicken tenders without, all the processed crap in there. It's bad enough that the food comes from Cisco and it's reheated and it's, pre-cooked or whatever, But anyways, that's besides the point. I just wanted to share this story because it really was watershed to me. A watershed story because you always hear about the customer just crashing out. And this time it was the employee. And now that guy, obviously he was just arrested the other day. Obviously he's there's a 95% chance or more that he's going to be convicted. And he's probably going to spend either the rest of his life or a big chunk of his life in prison in Florida, wondering about that one life choice. Can you imagine how much those guys in prison are going to make fun of him? Like, there's dudes in the joint who've been there because they went after something, like they were robbing a bank, or wifey was running around behind him, and he didn't like that or whatever. Can you imagine what they're going to say when they go, "Hey, bro, what are you in here for?" "Oh, bro, I capped a customer at Checkers after he asked for too many mayonnaise packets. I got offended because he's trying to dip into the profits of Checkers." What was he making in Florida? What's the minimum wage in Florida? The minimum wage in Florida, I guarantee you, is less than $10 an hour. I guarantee you he was probably making about $8 an hour, maybe 9. And he murked over that. Have you guys heard any crazy stories like this recently? Where you live, your stomping grounds, people crashing out over the dumbest stuff, life-ending, life-shattering consequences? Get down in the comment section and let me know, or email me and share it. Anyways, thesoftspokenshaman@gmail.com, again, is the place to reach out. Check out my books. Get on the Discord server, all that good stuff. I'll come at you guys later. Have a good day.